Hey, good happy October afternoon to everybody out there, or who will soon be out there, whatever. Quick check in for lunch, see what's going on. Or we know what's going on. Well, maybe we don't know what's going on. We have our suppositions of what's going on. But I wanted to check in today. Been negligent on some of my other things, and with this supposed bombings today, I had to comment, or mailings, the mailings in today. I had to jump in and comment and see what everybody thought, what the thoughts were. I shared some of my thoughts on the G Plus and on Twitter. Um, this whole thing was like a staged event, victimhood kicking in with these groups. Um, you had we had 8 years for somebody to do something like this, and nothing ever happened. And all of a sudden, what, a week and a half, a week before a pretty big midterm election, all these people suddenly get these packages. It just don't smell right. You know what I'm saying? That's what I see. Um, it looks like they're all inert too, so there's nothing real to it. Um, and it looks like they're just going to claim victimhood and point fingers at people trying to gain favor or stir up their masses. Maybe they're just trying to stir up their base and get Antifa to react. I don't know. That's what's really concerning, is what's the reaction going to be out of this whole thing. Hey, I got people checking in here. Black Cat Outdoors, how you doing? Good afternoon. Barry Woods with us. Rebel Solutions, what's up, Reb? How you been? Haven't seen you in a minute. Well, at least on the YouTube. Hey, Angel R, what's going on? Yeah, Barry, I don't know what to hypothesize about that. Deserving's one thing, but that doesn't look like that was the agenda. But looking at the reporting, none of them were blown in place, so none of them had an actual device, trigger, whatever you want to call it, And so it looks like they were all inert, and they're just, empty threats, basically. Made to look a lot worse than they actually are. There's supposed photographs of the one that was sent to the CNN location. I guess it had an ISIS flag potentially on the side of it, which doesn't make any sense either. But the hyperbole of the whole thing is how it all blows up in one morning. Like, all of a sudden, we're looking at what, 6, 7, 8 places all got these things all at once. Are you serious? Nobody. The mail's never that reliable. And there's some pretty strong evidence that some of these didn't have postmarks to begin with, so they weren't postmarked anyway. And that's a big red flag right there. So these are all hand delivered, made to look like they'd been in the mail, but somehow somebody thinks these threats are going to get any. I mean, it's nothing more than threats when they're going to places that these people don't handle mail themselves. They have mail rooms and they get screened, and they have secretaries, and all this stuff gets screened anyway. It's not like that stuff's not. It's going to get through that to the actual person. It's just seems an empty threat, and even more so, they're not even real. There was some packages placed outside of the San Diego Union Tribune, which raised red flags. There's like 6 boxes on a table, which is bizarre. And I guess Kamala Harris, that's her congressional offices, are in the same building, which obviously everybody's like tying it all together all of a sudden. But I guess they got placed there. They've already evaluated security tape at like 1:30 in the morning. Somebody put these boxes outside, and they get reported at like 7:30 or 8:30 when people started showing up. This is in San Diego, and it's like, so what? So things just aren't making sense. Anything more than them just going, oh look, we're being attacked by violent right wingers. They're out of control. So, what did you say there, Black Cat? You just got home. What did you miss? Oh my goodness, you haven't heard. You got to stay on the interwebs there, Black Cat. So, Angel R, you just found out about 10 minutes ago, right? Yeah, Black Cat. There were like 7 supposed devices caught in the mail in all these different locations for the Obamas, the Clintons, George Soros, CNN, New York. Supposedly, one got sent back to Wasserman Schultz because that was the return address. from Eric Holder. It was intended for Eric Holder, but the return address, it got sent back supposedly. So if you can turn on the news and catch up, but that was it's kind of the broad breadth of it. It's just, is it anything else than a big conspiracy? I mean, who could pull this off? I mean, nobody but a government agency. No individual could pull this off. So it makes you wonder about what agendas is going to get pushed out of this. What's going to get swept under the rug? What's being covered up? What are we being distracted from, potentially? Unless, again, it can be also used as a side effect of stirring up their masses before the election, or get Antifa to do something rash as a justification for what is going on or something. I don't know, lots of things to think about. Barry says a huge distraction to take away from the large caravan of people. Potentially, but is it really going to, if it's now that we know that's inert devices, nobody's been harmed. I mean, this is going to be a, 24-hour news cycle? That caravan's still weeks away. I mean, or at least a week away, depending on how much truck transport they continue to get on. But yeah, Barry, that's a big concern, is what the distraction is for. Black Cat, you've been on the road since 3 a.m., but you haven't had the radio on? Hey, Tommy boy, what's going on? Good morning. Or afternoon. I'm just used to saying good morning. Afternoon. Hand delivered, Barry? Well, the ones in San Diego were hand delivered, those boxes, but they were caught on surveillance. Now, the ones that got into a postal facility without being postmarked, that's what you got to figure. There's got to be some surveillance footage of that stuff, right? Because if these didn't actually circulate in the mail, they got hand delivered to a location where they were at, right? Somehow. So a lot of questions there. So the real question, continues to be, how long will it take us to figure out, was this intended to be an October surprise to sway the electorate? Or is it a distraction from something bigger going on? You look at the stock market today, it's not doing too healthy. It's down in the 24,000s now, so we're trending back downward, and it's across the board in the red. Everything except for like oil is the only thing going up. So that might be of concern. With all the markets getting hammered, the collapse is imminent. Things like this give them an excuse to strengthen the police state, I guess you'd say. And that's one thing I wanted to mention, is this gives them a perfect reason, because Trump came out and already condemned everything. It's like this, we're going to investigate this and everything else. But it's also a way to apply equal punishment to everybody. The left's getting attacked, but the right's in charge. What makes it easy to have the right do equal punishment amongst all the proles out here, to we got to implement all these security measures now because this stuff can't happen and can't go on. Even though, even though nothing happened, they probably don't even know who did it. Are they going to try to pin this on a lone wolf like Paddock, and try to make it seem like one guy could pull this off? Like, yeah, right. When you have things on East and the West Coast, and you got one guy on surveillance video in the middle of the night, it's an organized crew of some sort. And I think I said it on the Twitter or G+. Like, there's only like 2 organizations that could do this. You got the Russians that could pull something like this off, or a government agency like one of the 3-letter agencies, Al Qaeda or whoever. They're the ones that could pull something like this off. Not no, you know, deplorable Trump supporter is not going to support this. You know. Loretta, Tommy Boy, I don't think Loretta Lynch got one. Yeah, the Dow's down 519. Was that the close? Are we at close yet? What time is it? Not quite, huh? Yeah, it's getting crushed. That's a bad sign too. The way it's been trying to fight back ever since that big drop, and now it's going down. Like, oh, there's the big tell, and we're in October too. They're doing everything they can to prop everything up. Rebel, Rebel says it was a Democrat because nobody was injured. I guess possibly. Hey, Bikes, what's going on? Good afternoon. Well, Reb, it's just further implementation of further strictness. They can use that as an excuse to further their goals to tighten down the police state, I guess you'd say. Because they'll say that the proles, the common people, can't be trusted and just interact, and they can enact further rules, just like the Patriot Act, with everybody's blessing. They'll just come up with some new scheme and be like, oh, yeah, everybody will be like, okay, yeah, that's good. We'll be safer this way, right? Hey, Wes S., good afternoon. You missed all the mail bombs, the mailing packages, I guess, if you didn't hear about it. Don't tread, good afternoon. The Unabomber can pull it off. Well, the Unabomber couldn't pull off this many at once. He even only did it one at a time. He might have done two at a time, but you know, it's a difficult thing for one person to pull off. The Fed Reserve is killing the recovery. Well, the Federal Reserve can't get control of anything because it's stuck in a rock and a hard place now. There is no recovery. And right, Reb, we can't be trusted with freedom because things are going to get really tight here real quick. If we have freedom, they won't be able to manipulate their currency enough to stay in control. Yeah, Wes, you got to check the news. So, you might see any new things come out of that? I guess since I started here or anything. The last thing I saw was that they found that Cuomo had claimed that he had got a package, but it ended up being just some mailing of. I guess they considered it a threat or something, but it wasn't anything like a device. You know. But let me check the news here real quick. Yeah, Wes, they won't let you mail a lot of things, right? That's why they know the one didn't go through the mail because it doesn't have any postage, and it looks like the only one that might have went in the mail is the one that got kicked back to Wasserman Schultz, which we don't have pictures of. You, Angel's girlfriend down there in Miami, Wasserman Schultz. Bikes says, just want to state for those that are not critically thinking, it is near impossible to mail things like this in the mail. Right, no doubt. Especially since the Kaczynski guy, ever since everything's tightened down. Everybody looks at things, everybody gets scanned. Right, yeah, everything go. Yeah, no doubt. The idea that this got actually mailed across the country or from a location, and even worse, Bikes, is it got delivered all at the same time. They all happen to be going through their processing facility all at the same time. Like, that's even more laughable, right? The mail's never that on time. They made us blow up the stock exchange if it doesn't get better, right, Tommy Boy? And they have to use things like this as cover to hinder economic diversions because they want people don't want people to be able to support themselves in times like these. Yeah, Black Cat, get the Google fired up. Go do some searching. Check out the Drudge. Lots of links on Drudge to a lot of different stuff going on. All right, Angel. Her address is on the net, so you can go check out. She was the return address, I guess, for most of these. So somebody knew what they were doing. At least they had it go back to her. Yeah, Wes. It's just a simple alarm. People just sending clocks in the mail is all it was. What was that case? That kid made that clock out of a suitcase or whatever. All right, Barry. Have a good day. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, you got to really wonder, Wes, what restrictions are going to come out of this? What are they going to crack down on? I mean, you were even talking a couple chats ago. Wes, you were talking about how slow mail is the really only way to communicate anymore securely, or at least somewhat privately. Somewhat. Even though just about everything is photographed and scanned, but you can still at least get the message across. But now they might even take that away. They have to open up all your mail right in front of the post office master or something. Who knows what will come out with this thing? Hey, Bug Out Bubba, what's going on? Good afternoon. I don't know why you wouldn't want a suitcase alarm clock, Wes. It's not a matter of need, it's a matter of want, right? Yeah, they can't. Like, they may not. Wes, you never know. Who knows what rules they'll just do like they do in prisons, search everything. We'll just have our own nationwide prison system. So that'll be the big tell is what comes out of this. Just like Vegas would be the big tell is what comes next, what they try to drop on us for having doing this. Hey, Red October, what's going on? Good afternoon. CNN is having a quite the storm of a day. Why would everybody watch CNN to begin with? Just browse the internet. Yeah, reloading might be a target there, Red. That's a good point. They've been trying all they can to prevent mailings and shipping things through the mail and everything else but that really matters in this case, right? But that's the thing. They'd be like, well, we thought it was something legit. Even though the whole screening process worked, right? I mean, everything worked, nobody got hurt, but they'll still try to say they need to crack down on something. That's the real thing on things like this, like try to scare the sheep into giving them more control over things. Imagine what this will do to Christmas mail. I wonder what it might do to head of Christmas too. The nationalists might calm down a little tonight, says Tommy Boy. I don't know. They've been having a lot of these fired up meetings and rallies and stuff. Might just get them more fired up. Be all mad because they're trying to pin something on them. Bike says there has not been a need to open mail to read it in decades to explain the tech within. Oh, so bikes, you're saying that they can read the letters within mail already? Even, well, not just any. I mean, it has to. They can't read through every single package or whatever, right? Even Wes had explained how to wrap your letter, I think, for privacy's sake. No TV where you are, bug out. Oh, well, you're you're out of the retreat. That's a good place to be, bug out, Bubba. You might be in the right place. Mowing your fields, yeah. Just random packages in the mail going to these elite Democrats who are playing victims. Yeah, that's right. That's how you were describing it, Wes. Small piece of emergency blanket or a tin foil or something. And the market's closed there, Tommy Boy, I believe. They sent them to the cells, you think? Yeah, you would think that this could have been yeah, that's how they got this red. They Secret Service got the bulk of the ones for former presidents and stuff. So I can check in on some news to see what they're saying. See, I'm on CNN right now. They're saying it in the singular, like it's only one person, which is laughable. They're already trying to set up a narrative. They're just talking about how they're going to track them down on there. How are we going to track this person down? Well, go look around D.C. You're bound to find out who did it in D.C. Hey, Alicia. Good afternoon. What's going on? Yeah, the convenient timing, right? That we were just trying to figure out, or just hypothesizing about what could be the reasoning behind it, and what are they going to benefit out of it? In the ultimate end, is it the victimhood they're going after? Are they trying to stir up the masses to go vote harder, or are they trying to make Antifa react? I mean, what's the agenda, right? What's the ultimate going to come out of this? Yeah, that's the point too, Bikes. Like we were saying, we said that earlier. Like none of these people check their own mail. It's not like your target. In fact, you're your target. You're not going to get through to them anyway. It's going to be some poor soul trying to check their mail, secretary type or Secret Service agent or whatever. They're going to be the ones that get victimized if that actually gets that far. If not the postal man, if it was actually in the mail, the postman could end up being the victim. Hey, Walter Davis. Good afternoon. Uh oh, alien. West says the aliens. Let's don't even get into that. That might take too long to talk about. Bug up Bubba. No one's smart enough to make it would believe that it mailed would make it to the intended target, right? Yeah, I think I said that on G Plus too. Is like you're smart enough to do all this, but you're dumb enough to use a postal service. Like it doesn't. Everybody knows that would never work, especially because once they found one, they would go to after the other. So you can't count on the mail to get them all there at the same time. It doesn't sound like they did either. It sounds like they were marked like they'd been in the mail, like they had stamps, but they didn't actually have postmarks. So they were hand put into this sorting facility, which doesn't make any sense either, unless it's somebody on the inside, which is even bizarre, more bizarre. And I still haven't heard anybody. The fact they haven't blown any in place Just tells you, I think, that none of them are real. If they were really seriously a threat, they would have had to clear the facility and blow them in place with a shock wave or something like that. It looks like a movie. Yeah, the one picture is a pretty much a movie prop, isn't it, Bike or Reb? It does look very fakeish, I guess you could say. But also, a lot of devices you can make it look semi toy like as a part of the diversion of where the real trigger's at and stuff too. You could add pieces to it. If you had a real device, you could add pieces to make it look so you disguise where the trigger is. Red October says inside job, no doubt. You're pretty convinced they're Red for not being a conspiracy guy. But yeah, how does a piece of mail like that doesn't go through the postal service get inside a secret service sorting facility without being known, right? So somebody that knows those places and has access delivered it in there, right, to be found. And the same with the other places. Is this a message from the powers that be that people need to clean up their act? You know, is it a warning from I don't know, George Soros is probably whoever's above George Soros. Walter Davis, a watch and a roll of gun cap gun, no, cap gun caps would be a trigger. All right, bug, bug. Uh, yeah, that's the thing. That's another thing too. Bug brings up the patsies out there. They just don't know they're the patsy yet. Somebody's been set up for this to be the fall guy, right? Because there's no way they're going to be able to convince that everybody that's just been one big conspiracy. You would think, but that they're going to try to convince everybody that it's one dumb, one smart, crazy guy. That's not believable either, in my mind. Or is it going to fall away after the news cycle? Hey, Saints and Sappers, good afternoon. It's not cold at all. I mean, it's cloudy, so it's not as warm as it could be, but it's what, 45? Oh no, it's almost 60. It's plenty warm. Wes, like not you. You don't think you're the patsy guy? You could have been set up. Yeah. Hey, Galenas Vilkas, what's up? Yeah, Galenas, I don't think those are good. That's not a good way to get achieve your goals. I don't think that's not going to accomplish anything. Promising somebody a good time is never going to be able to get your way. Red says opinion on somebody who's on meds, a conspiracy person, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you put together a long enough trail, or they just say it and arrest somebody and hope that people stop paying attention enough to drag it out until the end. Be like, well, we couldn't find any co-conspirators, and they just finally convict the guy on doing it. Um, but you figure somebody's going down. And we've already figured out a couple key things: that they had to have access to this mail sorting facility. So if they're not nearby, how did they pull that off? Plus, get all these other locations at the same time. Um, I don't know if it has any tie to the San Diego thing, but the San Diego thing was basically this morning too, and it seems to be related in somewhat, but maybe not. Just happened happened to be coincidental, maybe. That would be kind of a weird coincidence. No such thing as coincidences, as Rebel says. So that San Diego thing, you think has to be tied, but they already found the stuff in those boxes It was like a football, a ball cap, random stuff in those prepackaged, flat rate boxes were set outside that building, which was weird. Oh, Wes, it was the crazy Austin guy from YouTube. Yeah. I don't know, Bubba. You might be above us on that list. You never know. Oh yeah, the mocking gets pretty strong, doesn't it, Bikes? You should go on Twitter. People are just all kinds of pushback on Twitter. Like nobody's buying it. Everybody's like pointing out all the inconsistencies, all these gaps that we've already, I got all the stuff I'm talking about from Twitter pretty much. Everybody bringing up, there's no, you know, this thing as a device doesn't look legit. It probably isn't legit uh, because it wasn't blown in place, etc. Plus, the shipping, it wasn't postmarked, so it had to get in the facility without going through the mail. One of them was delivered via courier service. They did say that today, but I haven't followed up on that yet. But then you had the San Diego thing too, which was found on video, which is weird. But yeah, the mocking from especially CNN because they're going to be claiming victimhood, I'm sure, on this, even though it was addressed to John Brennan, I guess, because he's a commentator for them, and CNN was it's their building address, and then but it was still return address labels are all to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So yeah, Angel, you need to get over there and make sure she's safe and secure.
Is behind all the packages, including the rice sent to billionaire George Soros Monday. And we'll have more as the information develops.
It was funny that the Soros one was the first one that hit the news too. That's kind of interesting. The first one to hit any like Twitter or any social media that I saw was George Soros, which is like, oh, well, he's finally getting his just due. But then it developed into more than that.
After hours. Jeff, you can tell us the reason Ford's up to.
So.
About the lack of detail on any restructuring plan, you have to take that seriously. But I mean, it found.
See if there's anything else on here.
The survey said actual 37.67 billion on revenue.
Yeah, the Dow was down 600 on my ticker here, Tommy Boy. That's what it's showing. That's quite the drop, but it's kind of buried in the headlines after this mess.
The average price 46,000 plus per Ford F-150 and the section and as you report. The congressional candidate Donna Shalala, former HHS secretary, and then a 14-year president of the
Bikes is just disgusted with the American public, I guess. Litmus tests are being failed all over by the country. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say, I don't know, Bikes. I mean, obviously, we're not going to get the masses, but there's a good percentage that just aren't buying this. People who I consider to be pretty moderate, I guess. They're apolitical types. They're not really in the our realm. They're like, this doesn't look legit. Are you kidding me? So.
Former Attorney General Eric Holder, but the address for Holder was slightly incorrect. So the return to sender address.
And they're rehashing here on the Fox channel, it sounds like, too.
That's what the post office did. They returned it to sender, and that's when it turns out.
Indeed it is, Tommy Boy. It is all messed up. It's all going to fall apart. Everybody just needs to, we need to decide how we want it to fall apart. Do we want to wait for it to enslave us further before it falls apart? Or just start the party now? But to have it start now, we'd have to convince enough people to get on the train. The collapsitarian train.
Yeah, that's the big question, Charles. So what routinely happens in the Secret Service investigation is what happened here. We obviously use remote locations for all our protectees' mail, and when something looks suspicious, they obviously...
Our children are turning into morons.
In this case, it turned out that
George Soros opens... Yeah, well, that's the thing about anybody that knows that. anybody that's smart enough to do this would know that these people don't open their own mail. So,
We have a dual threat there. So now that we know it's a
hey,
part
Long,
of
good
the
afternoon. How you
investigation,
doing?
that it's not just Secret Service protectees, there are more people that have been targeted. This case will be eventually transferred over to the FBI and the ATF, and they will take the lead investigative role in this. And the Secret Service will remain on board with the investigation, but more on a support.
Yeah, and if the it's talking about the FBI investigation here on the news channel here, and one key thing to be listening for the next couple of days is a person known to the FBI, ex-person, Mr. So-and-so, did this. That's going to always be the tell, too. It's like, oh, they already knew who this guy was. I wonder how he got set up.
Way to perhaps a personal mailbox?
No, absolutely not. As far as
Midwest
Secret
Prepper,
Service
good afternoon.
as well as
You got 20 bucks that says,
sent up to those locations are our protectees. Always
at the end of this, we find out it's a Democrat. Well, if we ever find out the truth, we were kind of hypothesizing we might never find that out. This might just get buried.
Before I let you go, I've got a minute. President Trump, he's been very active. He's pressing the flesh. He calls people out of the audience, oftentimes unrehearsed. How will protection change for President Trump?
Well, the Secret Service always
America Died says definitely a false flag.
as high as we can make it, especially when it comes
A
to
dimwit will most likely be arrested.
So we probably will not change any of our tactics as far as how we prevent things from coming into sites and how people interact with the president. Obviously, the farther you are away from the president, or
I don't know, you'd think if somebody was trying to start something on that side that they would have,
now when you are
they know they'd have to get something to actually be injured. They couldn't send fake devices. That wouldn't really get enough reaction to get the party started in their perspective, I don't think.
If there were harsher penalties for something like this, would these incidents stop?
I think more concern is how they're going to drop the hammer on everybody. And again, that equal punishment. Everybody must be punished for these actions. So we're going to implement these security controls and security checkpoints or mail screening or in mail service overall. I don't know. Something's coming. We just got to be aware for it. See the tails. Look for the signs. Hey, Tommy boy, you might be on your own soon. It's funny some of the verbiage they're getting out of all these different talking points and all these talking heads and all the different politicians, even the president. It's like these people we've been brought to justice and these evil deeds and terroristic acts, and it's like, dang, nobody was even hurt. Like nothing even went off. I mean, yeah, somebody might have been scared, but my goodness, let's put it in perspective. They're getting everybody wound up about it for some reason, obviously for reasons to take advantage of an agenda, but I don't know. The average person's like, hey, it wasn't me. What do I care? Let the elite do what they're going to do, right?
Another calling it a double standard, posting there are negative connotations surrounding actual black people who have this hair. However, conveniently, when a
Yeah, Alicia, we were kind of talking about that for kind of you could distract from that invasion force, but I mean that invasion force is going to hit the border, a week, 10 days, 12 days from now. This isn't going to carry over that long, especially with no incident, no injuries or nothing. This is going to die down fairly quickly. So I don't know that it's going to distract from that caravan enough to really have that effect. We're still going to be on top of that. Somebody's going to be out here walking their dog. But protect the innocent here, or the guilty. Whoa, come back. Yeah, let's get that back. Protect the innocent people from being identified. Walter says he thinks a right side person sent a warning shot. Why would you waste that much energy, Walter, to be found out so easily? You get to that point and you call that a warning shot. I mean, that's like big, broad swath of targets. You know, that's kind of like going and egging everybody's house. It doesn't really. You might be trying to send a message, but how effective is that? You know. Yeah, we talked about the M Long. None of the stamps were canceled. It didn't go through the postal service, so somebody had access to the facility, which means it's even more of a setup. Which means it's even less likely that it's a right side type person. Saint says that post office needs a few more billion for a new mail scan. Oh, there you go. There's a good agenda. Get the post office more mail scanners. Like they need any more. Oh no, bikes. Everybody's onto that. Everybody knows this caravan is being supported and funded. That's why George Soros is on the hook for that. That's pretty well documented. Not only getting rides, they'll be getting cash. They'll be getting cash straight up out there on the streets. People are feeding and housing them. Um, yeah, bikes. Anybody that is buying into that hasn't humped that 25 miles with 40 pounds, right? Yeah, it's especially you see some of the pictures. They're all in flip flops. Nobody's wearing legit shoes. Like they might wear flip flops just in a small stretch, but they're not hiking the whole way up here like that. But that's still, a week, 2 weeks away, and we'll see how that turns out. I still haven't seen any bona fide stories about the 82nd Airborne being activated, but there's lots of rumors of that still out there. You need some stamps, Tommy boy? Yeah, maybe you could go talk to the FBI about that. FBI Lyle, give you gladly give you those, I'm sure. Yeah. Alicia says they sent it to Soros so that they could be able to shut down censor the internet. Yeah, so you can't say bad things about George, right? Because he's been getting hammered over this whole illegal immigrant invasion. People are hammering him about that. So that'd be an easy way to justify shutting down people talking bad about him. Is obviously it causes this reaction. So again, it's a group punishment thing. Everybody, left and right, supposedly, you call yourself left or right, is going to get punished. Hey, Big Dog Leather, good afternoon. What's going on? Thanks for checking in. West check, they still aren't selling tags for the caravan people. I'm not sure what that means, Wes. All right. Your Air Force Base has been active, Alicia. Sometimes it goes in cycles, just depending on what they're training for. But your area, your region could be an indicator of future future events, I guess you'd say. That news isn't saying anything.
Commonalities are all Democrats or
CNN's gonna milk this for all it's worth.
the subject of wrath from the president from his allies who
Oh, you mean a tag?
if it were one of
Oh, you want a tag from the Fish and Wildlife, huh? Fish and Game?
we'll all go back to why was the person actually
Yeah, I think you can't get tags for things that are in Mexico. I think that's the problem, Wes.
Jake, the one thing
Might have to wait a little while.
here, we talked about the device and its crude nature. We know that just because a device is unsophisticated doesn't mean it's not going to kill. But one of the larger, I think, threats here that is remaining that's still ongoing when you talk about the polarization, when you talk about this toxic climate, is if it in fact turns out, and we don't know, but if it turns out that this person was acting because of the heated rhetoric, because these officials who were targeted were also facing wrath from politicians, then what that means is that there's a segment of the population out there that's predisposed to act on these violent tendencies based
Yeah, CNN's trying to take the angle of taking away free speech, it sounds like.
tweeting. So again, that actually makes it more concerning for me as a former law enforcement officer.
Talking about the
I'm not
hostile
so much
climate.
concerned whether this is a master bomb maker. Either way, this person can be deadly, because if it turns out, Jake, to be a mental issue or something of that nature, that still means that you have people out there that are taking in this messaging, that are acting on it. Very deadly.
Yeah, so CNN got some guy out here talking about how troubling it is that somebody could act out on the things they hear from politicians and stuff. So, again, a free speech. They want to silence everybody. Wasn't it Clinton, the Hillary type one, that said just like 2 weeks ago, we want to get aggressive, we want to get in their face, something like that? Didn't she just say that recently? And now this happens. Be like, oh, maybe I should shut up.
These packages were delivered. All of the forensic data is actually being taken to the FBI's laboratory.
Is this a distraction, Alicia? That's the big question. Is it a distraction? Between the economic problems and the markets potentially continuing downtrend here, it could be a distraction from that, the economic news. Or it could be just a way that people get fired up for the election, too. I don't know. Maybe they want Antifa to react. I've always said the Antifa's useful idiots, and this would be a prime ticket for them to do something serious and cause that police state reaction that I've talked about a lot. This would be the perfect excuse for somebody like that.
Depending on what the makeup is, depending on what the signature is, they can then work backwards and determine that, okay, this is the type of material that we can find.
Right, Alicia? It's a good way to put the lid on the internet, keep people from talking out. Not like you haven't been put the lid on enough for yourself, right? They've already come after you pretty hard.
Packages that are sent through the mail. I did so when I was in the FBI, working backwards with the U.S. Postal Inspection Service in order to identify where certain devices would come. Now, people think that, well, we just look at the return address, or we just look at.
Wes is voting straight party ticket. I wouldn't advise that, Wes, but do what you got to do.
But I can tell you that the law enforcement officers are very good at what they do, and if these devices were indeed sent through the U.S. Postal Service, through some type of commercial
You are nice, Alicia, right? They still don't like what you're saying. That's all that matters. I just don't understand why they let me exist around here and mill about smartly. Makes me think I'm being set up for something. Yeah, CNN's just trying to jump to conclusions to get their own agenda out, it sounds like. Of course, they're not going to expect anything good from them this today.
to change the rhetoric, and oftentimes, Trump especially, we don't take that opportunity.
But I think this is about more than the rhetoric, because the rhetoric has been going on. It has been present at his rallies since he was a candidate. What is
Yeah, Alicia, they set up Alec Jones. It would just be the next step. If they can just point, they can find some guy that say he was radicalized to do this through internet forums and watching YouTube videos and live chats and everything. Right?
favorable to autocratic dictators? So, he wants to show his love letters. In your interview, when he was telling Josh Dossey about the love
That's not true, Wes. I think the libertarian position is open up the free market and let it solve itself. We wouldn't flood the border with dope if people could just grow their own.
Brian Silver is more trustworthy than you. We all kind of tone it down for
But that's not the most pressing issue.
of disparaging law enforcement, disparaging intelligence, and embracing autocracy.
And also the recognition on the behalf
You had 7 unopposed, Alicia? Yeah, we had I think I had 3 or 4 unopposed. A couple of them were Supreme Court justices, and a couple others were unopposed. A couple of county commission seats were unopposed too, I think. I'd have to double check, but yeah, there were several. Lots of people get unopposed. It's like They talk about if you want to make a difference, just run in one of those events just to get the conversation, discuss the issues. Bug out, Bubba. You can't talk about things like that. It doesn't push the agenda. Yeah, I'm glad I could be of service, Tommy boy. I'm glad I'm doing something worthwhile. Well, that's why you're out there on the farm, Wes. You can grow it for them. You can make a profitable business. There you go. Alicia, do they get paid? Is that the most important thing? I guess it depends. Some places are, like I think school board members and stuff don't get paid. Like some of those elected board positions aren't paid, but it just depends on your county and how they do things, your state. Some things are paid, some things aren't. Some of them don't deserve to get paid, that's for sure. All right, folks, I'm going to have to check out here. I'm going to be past my time. But thanks for hanging out. Spread the word. We'll keep an eye on this, or try to keep an eye on this as best we can, because it's obviously a big issue to see how they're going to run down this trail and who they're going to frame for this. So keep your eyes open. Stay alert, stay alive, as Wes says. Stay alive, don't die. Thanks for checking in. Have a good day. Live free.